in there? Okay. Well, I guess a new video has started. That's a new feature. That's a new feature. So it just started a new video. All right. So John Rice just sneaks a little political ad here, like, at the end of every little thing he does is wear your mask. And your grandmother, wear your mask. It's like, John, we can decide that for ourselves, buddy. Okay? We don't need your passive aggressive nonsense. I mean, seriously. You know? I mean, to the congregation and to the world, I would just say, listen, if you passively allow someone to treat you like an idiot or like a child, in other words, if you don't object to being treated like an idiot or like a child, then even though you may not technically literally be an idiot, and you may not technically literally be a child, effectively you are, because you're passively allowing someone to treat you like one. So I object to John Rice telling me to wear my mask. Hey man, it's my prerogative, buddy. I don't care if it's a county commission unenforced mandate, recommendation, whatever. I don't care. It's none of your business. I'll follow the mandate and the recommendation at my own discretion, even if there is a penalty involved, which there isn't. So that's a moot point. Okay? I mean, which means it's a completely unenforceable mandate or recommendation or whatever it is, some legal gobbledygook that has no real meaning in the real world. Okay? It's just the manipulation of language, right? That's designed to scare people. Again, in my opinion, okay, just like you, I'm allowed to have my opinion, right? So I'll decide if I want to expose myself to the fine or whatever the penalty is, which there is none. So that's a double reason to stay out of my hair, to stay out of my face, focus on doing your job, okay? And I'll live my life before God, right? And not allow myself to be degraded by someone like you, to be degraded and insulted by someone like you, who apparently doesn't really know what your job is, which is to be a steward of the Word of God. Not to be a nanny, not to imitate people's long-lost grandmothers, not to nag people with your political agenda. Right? Those things are not your jobs. Right? So that's all I want to say about this COVID stuff. I don't know how. Oh yeah, I think I can pause this video actually. I'll pause it and I'll listen to some more of this thing and give one more play-by-play, because this was just one play-by-play. This was just one play in my play-by-play. So if I do every play that I want to talk about, I'll be here all night. And nobody will listen to it. It'll be too long. Nobody's probably going to listen to it as it is. That's okay. I mean, really, it is okay if nobody listens, because in my mind, I'm not responsible for outcomes. I'm responsible for just faithfully carrying out the assignment or my duty that I feel called before God to carry out, and it's up to Him what the effect is, when the effect is, who the effect is upon, I mean, whoever's affected is affected whenever. Maybe it's not even during my lifetime. I mean, whoever, whenever, that's fine with me, I mean, I enjoy the sense and the satisfaction of instant gratification. I mean, everybody does, right? But I'm trying to learn to be a grown-up and not live by the need of instant gratification, of always seeing the effect of my work. I'm trying to learn to be a grown-up and just do my job the best I can and let the chips fall where they may. If somebody else gets credit for my work, okay, fine, God bless you. And God chose to bless you instead of me for my work. Okay, well, that's between God and Himself, really. I mean, that's, that's of no concern of mine. God can bless me whenever. God told the Israelites that he would give them cities they did not build, vineyards they did not plant, houses they did not build, So for someone else to get credit for the work that I've done, that's pretty natural, right? And if that is natural, then there's no reason that I shouldn't expect at some point in time to get credit for the work that somebody else did. All right? That's, if God chooses to do that for me. In any case, I know that God loves me and he'll take care of me. So it's just not a concern. I don't worry about the impact. I'm not going for maximum impact, like internet marketing or affiliate, maximum impact, like like a late night infomercial or something like that. I'm not worried about it. I'm just trying to be faithful to be who I am, when I am, whatever I am, wherever I am, because my conviction again is that all of that is the work of God. He put me here as I am when I'm here. So all I have to do is be who I am. And he'll take care of the rest. And yes, it's not perfect. I know it's not perfect. I know I'm not. I know this is not perfect. I'm not perfect. This is not perfect. It's never. Okay. And if I hadn't been such a sinner over the course of my life, I'd probably be doing a lot better job right now. Okay, but no. But see, God is sovereign, not me. We live by the rule of grace, not condemnation. I'm not condemned because of my sins. You can't have, like Paul says, you can't have grace without sins. So I live by grace. So anyway, I'm preaching, but and just a little bit rambling. But I'm going to find one more play to make commentary on. And thank you for watching this. And hopefully, when I pause this and then restart it, it'll work the way I think it does, and it'll just start where I pick up, or start where I left off. Okay, so I'll be back. Thank you for watching. Again, today is January 11th, 2021, 3:16 a.m. now. Okay, thanks. I'll be back. Okay, so here's another play in the play-by-play that I want to comment on. This is at the 34-minute mark. No, I'm sorry, the 18-minute mark. Here, let me play a little bit of it here. See.
In education, no doubt about that. This morning, I'm with Cynthia Kidd. As you know, this morning, I'm with Cynthia.
I must have been in the bathrooms.
Good morning, folks. Thanks for being with us in here in the little segment that we're started calling Meet Your Leaders, and we'll demask ourselves this morning. I'm with Cynthia Kidd. As you know, most of the times we've been talking to Cynthia here.
Now, you probably know what I'm amused by. I didn't see this before. We were in the theater room. David and I were in the theater room watching the thing, and I had to get up and go to the bathroom like 3 times during the service because, and that by the theater room, I mean, I'm in my apartment. I've been trespassed from the church. They won't let me come on the church because I raised my voice outside the church with the door shut. Okay? John Rice chased me through the building when I was walking quietly and calmly. I'm talking about the following weekend, next weekend. And by chase me, I mean I was walking and he was walking right behind me, like 2 steps behind me, chattering the entire way. With his raised voice, making a scene inside the church in front of like 50 or 60 people, okay? And apparently that's okay. But I was outside the church raising my voice in front of like 5 people, and somehow that's worthy of me being trespassed. I mean, I don't understand that. That's the logic on that is very strange. But anyway, did you see that? They're wearing their masks at the beginning of the video. And then we're going to demask like it's some kind of big event to demask. Wow. So in the last segment here on my play-by-play, I was talking about the theatrical fakery of what the leaders here do. And I mean, the next play that I saw was just the most absurd example of theatrical fakery you could ever imagine. They wore their masks only for the cameras, for no other reason. You know? There's no integrity in that. There's no purpose in that. There's no there's no safety. It's just theater. This is fake. This is nonsensical. This is, like I said in the previous segment, if we allow these people, whatever they are, sometimes you just wonder what they are, really. In other words, we know they're not doing what they represent themselves to be doing. That's why I call Dr. Money a whore, because we went through all that already. That's what a whore is, somebody who claims to represent love, but really she's just selling her body. Has nothing to do with love. It's a business transaction. But she's not going to go out on the street and advertise a business transaction, right? That's not attractive, right? So she has to represent herself for something other than what she's really all about. They're representing themselves as being interested in public. It's just there's nothing about public safety for putting on your mask for the camera. That's just public insult. That's it. We should be insulted. Our leaders are grown-ups. We're grown-ups. They should treat us like grown-ups, and we should treat them like grown-ups, which means we should hold them accountable, which means we should not allow them to passive aggressively insult us like this. This is, to me, this is just me. This is insanity. Don't play theater with me. Whatever you have to say, just say it. I can figure out what you're saying. I don't need all this little cartoonish nonsense of putting on a mask for 3 seconds and then we're going to demask ourselves. Is demasking an actual thing now? That's the first time I've ever heard the word. Are there going to be standards and protocols for demasking? I mean, you see how absurd this is all getting? Over what? Over a statistical debate? Over a political virus? This is insanity. Okay, so I'll keep the commentary on this play short, but that's all I wanted to say on this. I'm going to go look for the other play that I was looking for earlier. I'll be back here shortly.
Okay,
I think I found the next play that I wanted to comment on.
Making the most of this opportunity because, folks, let's be honest, the days are evil. There's some raunchy stuff happening. And it will invade into our fellowship. It will invade into our lifestyle if we don't choose to say and take Paul's words and heed them carefully during this moment of transition and during this time of interim where Paul says, be very careful then. Watch how you live.
Okay.
Not as the unwise.
So everything is context, right? Like I said, so far John Rice preaches from the Bible. I mean, pretty faithfully, really. I mean, as far as I can tell, so far. But everything is context. I mean, this church is a hard left, Democrat, communist, pushing, advocating, promoting body from the leadership, not from the people so much, as far as I know. More from the leadership, And the people, sadly, just sort of sheepishly go along, which I think is unhealthy, I think the model that Jesus gave us is to be vigorously engaged, I guess would be the best way to put it, vigorously engaged in what the leaders are doing. And to say that Jesus was vigorously engaged in what the leaders of his day were doing, I think actually would be kind of an understatement, right? I mean, he was more than vigorously engaged. I mean, he got quite, very engaged. He got, he got violent, right? I mean, I was trespassed because somebody, I don't know who lied about it. It was the letter was signed by John Rice and uh, Roger Hendrickson or something like that. Um, but they weren't there. Oh no, Roger was there actually. So maybe he's the one that lied about it. But somebody lied about me threatening violence. I never threatened violence, you know. But so apparently whatever I did wasn't bad enough to trespass me. They had to add a couple of lies, maybe one lie, and one exaggeration, which is a form of a lie itself, right? On top of it to make it worthy of being trespassed, which is like a compliment to me, right? It's like, what you did wasn't that bad, so we're gonna have to make up some things to make it sound like it was, right? I take it as when somebody lies about me in order to get me in trouble, I take that as a compliment. That's like saying, actually, you're not that bad, so we're gonna have to make up some stuff to make it seem like you're bad, right? So like I said, I forgot what I lost my train of thought. I apologize. He sticks pretty close to the Bible here. He's preaching straight from the Bible, which is, as far as I'm concerned, that's why I go to church. I mean, call me crazy, but that's why I go to church. I don't go to church to hear political advocacy, Republican or Democrat, either way. I don't. I just don't. I get that 6 days a week, 6.5 days a week. I don't need it the other half day, And if that's what I get when I go to church, I'm going to complain. Because I go there and they ask for my money and they ask for my time, and it's like they ask for it because they promote the idea that they're going to use it to promote, the Bible and the life and the model that Christ left for us, and then they turn around and they use it for something else for this political. It's like, that's not what I'm giving you my time, talent, and treasure for, to politically advocate for things. No, that's not. No, there's. I get emails all the time. The Republican Party. This is what we're doing in Pinellas County this month. Come out and join us. Well, if I want to be involved in politics, then I'll go to a Republican Party meeting. You can go to a Democrat Party meeting, and we can just shut the church down. Okay, I don't need that all that, but that's what this is. This, I believe, it's not explicit. Okay, it's not explicit, but I believe this is what I was referring to as a political ad. Raunchy. What's he talking about? Raunchy. Something raunchy is going on out there in this time of transition. He's talking about I believe, he's talking about the Trump supporters' march to the Capitol. I believe that's what he's talking about, because everything is context. These are leftist. These are Democrats. These are communists. Democrats and communists they're synonymous. The Democrat parties, they're just communists. They just are. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. They just are. I mean, that's what Republicans believe. So maybe if you're a Democrat, you disagree. Okay, I respect your opinion. Now, I'm telling you what we believe. We believe Democrats are communists. These people, the leaders of this church, are Democrats, communists, and leftists. Okay? And they speak in code. They use dog whistles to talk to each other. Sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes. Right? So, I think that's what this is. Which is my old beef. It's the same. It's, they never complain when Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia, like one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest state in the country, right? Because it's right next to Washington, D.C., where all the tax money goes and where all the defense contractors are, and so on and so forth, on and on forever, right? Ralph Northam, they never complained when it came out that he wore blackface in college. He's a Democrat, that's why. Okay? Democrats can do whatever they want, right? And nothing ever happens. People like John Rice, and they never say anything, right? You want to talk about raunchy? I saw about 3 seconds of Hunter Biden's hard drives. That's raunchy. Hunter Biden had his own Pornhub channel, right? And he was his father's right-hand man, right? Joe Biden's right-hand man. I mean, Joe Biden was taking your tax money and my tax money and using it for quid pro quo arrangements with other countries to arrange for them to get loans so that he could get kickbacks to his personal account. So in other words, he was taking our tax money and offering $1 billion loans to people if they give him 40 or 50 or 60 million dollars as a kickback in return to himself personally. That $60 million was our tax money being used to enrich himself and his family personally. Okay? See, that's raunchy, right? But that's not what he's talking about here, because I know these people. That's not what they're talking about. And let me get back to Ralph Northam. Now, Ralph Northam, like I said, blackface. Ralph Northam also went on national radio, and he said that we need to expand the definition of abortion to include babies that are newly born within the last 2 hours. So in other words, give a mother 2 hours to decide whether or not, because, well, first of all, that's pretty raunchy, right? But that's not what he's talking about. That's not what John Wright, they don't talk about this kind of stuff. They don't care about this kind of stuff. Okay? But that's raunchy. Killing newborn babies, that's raunchy. All right? See, Planned Parenthood, they get about like $30,000 for an intact baby. You know, whether it's C-section removed or newly born or whatever, it doesn't matter. They get about 30. So, and they sell baby organs as well. And they get more money for an organ that's removed from a living baby than they do from a deceased baby, right? Or from a baby who just deceased like within minutes. So they want, what Ralph Northam wants is the ability to keep these babies alive so they can maximize the price. Because Ralph Northam is a pediatrician by trade, right? So he understands the business of medicine. And anybody who's invented medicine, you know, if you're listening to this, you know it's a business. Before public interest, before health, before kindness, before compassion, number one, it's a business. Now, if you're a doctor and you're not part of I can't remember what they call those things where you got like 20 doctors and there's 3 offices, or 10 offices, or 1,000 doctors, 100, whatever that's called. It's not association, but there's a word for it. If you're not part of one of those and you have your own practice, okay, then this doesn't apply to you. But I'm talking about hospital chains, big hospitals. I'm talking about institutionalized medicine, not a guy who became a doctor because he wanted to take care of people and he puts out his own shingle. And no. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not institutionalized medicine. That's just a person helping his fellow men and women, right? But I'm talking. But the vast majority of medicine in the Western world is institutionalized. I mean, highly institutionalized. So the business of medicine is the first priority, right? So Ralph Northam understands the business. Okay, but killing newborn babies, they never talk about that. They don't care about that. They don't care. I mean, literally, they do not care. And this was recently. This wasn't 20 years ago or 10 years. This was like within about 3 or 4 years ago. Okay? And there were all kind of calls for him to step down and blah, blah. No, but he stayed on. He's still there. Okay? Because he's a Democrat. He can call for infanticide on a national radio program. And Democrats don't care. John Rice doesn't care. Dr. Glenn Money doesn't care. The leaders of my church don't care. They could go out and kill newborn babies, and they wouldn't care. When I say Democrats, communist, leftist, I mean it's not rhetoric. It's not wild-eyed crazy. It's literal communist, and worse. I mean, what do you call somebody who doesn't care when national leaders get up and advocate for infanticide? What do you call that? I mean, that's what they do in communist China. They do horrific things in communist China. I mean, horrific. Okay? And that's what we're going to be if Biden becomes president. And they don't care about Biden's association with China. They don't care because Biden's a Democrat, see? All right? All right. 40 million slaves in the world right now. More slaves in the world than at any time in human history. That's pretty raunchy, right? That's raunchy. But guess what? John Rice doesn't care about that. They never talk about that. The slaves are mostly women and children, or largely women and children, and a large percentage of that slave trade is for the purpose of sexual slavery. John Rice doesn't care about that. Dr. Glenn Money doesn't care about that. The leadership of my church does, but John Rice will call people marching to